Welcome to Sons of a Gun, a podcast about the DC Universe. I'm Alex Gunn, a son of a gun.
I'm Justin Gunn, another son of a gun, and a brother of a gun, and a brother of another gun, whose name is...
Hey, I'm Pete.
That is Pete Gunn, who is also our lawyer. Legally, Pete always reminds us that we can't say who our father is, but he's a celebrity. You might know him. And he wrote the episode of Peacemaker that we're going to be talking about, Season 2, Episode 2. If you haven't seen it on HBO Max, check it out. This is called A Man is Only as Good as His Bird, and spoiler warning for everything. We're going to dive right into it. We are picking up with the cliffhanger of the last episode, the season premiere, where Peacemaker accidentally killed his DC2 double from the alternate Earth that we have visited through the quantum unfolding chamber. Spends a bunch of the episode with Vigilante trying to hide and get rid of the body, but also dealing with the emotional fallout of that, killing and dismembering and incinerating himself. Got a little bit of a metaphor there. Hard to figure out what's going on. Yeah. But he ultimately, by the end of the episode, drunkenly stumbles back into DC2 and texts that version of Amelia Harcourt, who he's discovered thanks to Peacemaker 2's phone that they were in a romantic relationship. So things aren't sparking up in the DCU, but maybe in the DC2, I guess we'll have to see. Meanwhile, a bunch of other things are going on. Actually, not that much, but we do get to briefly meet Frank Grillo again as Rick Flag Sr. We find out that the Suicide Squad, the is very important there, is canon to the events of Peacemaker Season 2. We get to see scenes of Peacemaker killing Rick Flag Jr., played by Joel Kinnaman, who pops up here just in that flashback scene. And then we also get to meet Langston Fleury, which is an Argus agent played by Tim Meadows, who is paired up with John Economos, played by Steve Agee, who he calls Ginger Cool. Gives a bunch of nicknames to a bunch of other people, and they end up invading Peacemaker's house to check out the quantum unfolding chamber, only to get absolutely obliterated by Eagly, and that's not helped by the fact that Langston Fleury has bird blindness, which is not a real thing, but...
Well...
I mean, it feels real.
It's real to him.
Sure, there's a lot of things that feel real. And if something feels real, it is real, right?
Well,
that's
I don't
right.
know about
That's literally the problem we're in current society. But yeah, I agree with you guys.
Oh, shit. It just got real.
It just got real.
And it feels real.
And it feels real, so it is real.
Now, do you guys recommend, like, if you go through a breakup, contacting that person in another dimension and trying to connect with them?
Well, the key is you got to be in the right dimension for the text to go through. Everybody knows that. I mean, that's just common sense.
That's your biggest hang-up with the situation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I did want to ask you guys, I mean, if we want to jump right to this, let's talk about the ethical...
I want to back it all the way up to the beginning, but okay.
Oh, to the DC flip?
No, well, I think that, something that we saw in the opening...
Can we talk about very quickly,
sequence?
because you're very focused on the Marvel flip on our Marvel podcast, yet you have not mentioned the fact that the DC logo, the new DC Studios logo, literally does a flip where the other ones do not at all. Feels like a deliberate omission on your part, Pete, so what are you hiding?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for pointing out. I haven't really been paying attention to that part, so...
Well.
Seems to be some holes in my logic.
Crazy.
Yeah. What beginning part did you want to talk about? Frank Grillo?
We talked a little bit about the opening dance sequence, right? And usually it's
that's not the beginning. That's that's 5
sort
to 10
of the
minutes.
middle.
Yeah, it's the middle.
Anyways, it's usually at the beginning of episodes. I don't know what to tell you. My point being, though, that it seems like Eagly kills. It's kind of the joke on like Punisher kills the Marvel Universe where he's standing on all the bodies. Eagly is standing on all the bodies, saying that like maybe Eagly kills everyone. And we kind of get that in this episode, speaking of bird blindness.
It is interesting that you are very obsessed with that last image from the opening credits. You're concerned, I feel like. Are you worried that the Eagly is going to win?
Eagly, one of my favorite characters in the show. I was worried that it was a different Eagle, which I think is kind of out the window after
I
this
see
episode.
who has bird blindness going on.
Yeah, I think we have a case of real life.
That's why I was all defensive. I was like, it's a real thing, man.
You only
Well, there
see
is.
eagles.
So I did some research
only
into
see
this, and I'm
eagles.
forgetting exactly what it's called. But there is like obvious people do have face blindness, and apparently there have been studies to show that that goes to animals as well. That's not what's going on here. There's also a thing called visual agnosia, where there's different types of it, but you can't really recognize objects necessarily. Like you know what they are, but once you piece it together, your brain kind of messes it up a little bit. But this is purely a joke for the episode. That is the only thing that is going on here with the bird blindness.
Well,
Just
I also
to clarify.
I mean, Tim Meadows is a fun addition to this season. He is hilarious. So this whole bird blindness is a fun bit, and his name also, Agent Fleury, I think is a nod to Nick Fury, Agent Fury. So I think that's a fun thing too.
Sure.
I like when you get out all of your crackpot theories at the top of the podcast.
I got stuff, man.
I love Tim Meadows. I think he is a effortlessly funny dude, and I really did enjoy a bunch of the bits that he had in the episode. Here's something I want to throw out at you, and maybe controversial, but I feel like Justin might be on the same level as me. Too many bits.
How
Interesting.
dare you, sir?
I thought this.
You
I
are a
thought
comedian.
this
How dare you?
No, what I mean is like too many. Like he has the burn blindness, he has the nicknames thing, he has the whole wink conversation with Sacha Bordeaux. There's at least one or two other things. Oh, there's the whole thing about like the threesome that he had that's going on, where I'm like, these are all funny individually, but.
And then
we could just have him be like, doing the massaging and sexualizing Leonardo Adebayo, all of this stuff where I was like, these are all funny individual bits, but you're hitting the ground running too hard with being like, he's this and this and this and this and this. And I felt like they could pare it back to he is an agent with bird blindness and I'd be good to go.
Wow.
Well,
so your problem is he's too funny.
I hear you. It's like it goes to like sort of character game, to use a comedy term, where like his character game is random when you would expect it more. I think what Alex is saying to be like he does funny nicknames and he has bird blindness. That's about the extension of a usual character game in a show, I think. And in this they just go much harder.
But when you bring a comedy dynamo like Tim Meadows into a situation, you want him to go crazy. You want him to turn it to 11, have some fun.
When I do think he successfully captures changes the tone of this episode.
Yeah.
Every time he appears on screen, it's crazy. His sense of humor, especially compared to the first episode, his sense of humor and the sense of humor around this character is so different. And I like it a lot better. I thought this episode was much better than the first one, and really was like hit the ground running comedically with Tim Meadows and with using the multiverse stuff to pay off the emotional stakes of these characters in a really good way. So I thought this was really.
They could have been hitting a lot more jokes. I mean, the whole Agent Fleury thing. They could have been. Talking about ice cream. They could have been doing a lot of different bits. I think he pared it down. And
you think there's a lot of ice cream comedy on the cutting?
Oh, it left it on the table there.
Well, to throw out one of the things that might have been different here, the first episode was written and directed by James Gunn. This was written by James Gunn, but it was directed by Greg Mottola, who did Superbad, and he did, I haven't seen this, but I heard it was great, Confess Fletch, the recent one with John Hamm.
I watched it. Funny movie. That movie, very rare in movies, I feel like it gets better as it goes on. It starts sort of strangely and gets much better.
But I agree with you about the humor, and I wanted to keep on that sort of to segue to just generally talk about the episode. I certainly like the first episode better than you did, Justin, but I think this continues the trend here. I really noticed, with a few exceptions, that the humor on a whole is a little softer. I don't mean like lackadaisical, but I mean just like kinder towards the characters between each other. And when there are things where characters are yelling at each other versus season 1, where it was a lot of like, ha ha ha, we're all ganging up and making fun of this one character, usually John Economos. in this case, it's a lot on themselves. And you can see that in the scene when Peacemaker and Adebayo are sitting down on the stoop and talking, and he starts yelling at her, and he's like, oh, what do you want to do? You want to have a dance sequence? We'll all get up and do like a flash dance together.
Which is a nice call to the opening credits.
Yes, you're going to keep going back to that. I get that. But my point here is that I think that is on him, and it's on him being sad, and there's nothing he's actually throwing on Adebayo. He's instead digging himself a hole as he goes, and I like that better. I like that because, like you're saying, Justin,
Yes,
that points to the emotional truth of the characters who are all really bummed out in the season. But also, to extend this even further, it really struck me in the party that they have on Harcourt's rooftop, where everybody's smiling and enjoying each other's company, which I think is the first time that has happened in this series ever. And it's great. I would rather watch characters, like characters can clash on a show, but I would much rather watch characters be like, we want to spend time with each other, and there are things that cause friction between us, rather than we hate each other and want to get out of here as quickly as possible.
Well, in that scene especially, I was like, it felt genuine that they were genuinely having fun. And even though Economos has a secret, Harcourt has some stuff she's dealing on the own, it wasn't like a fake, let's be friends while they're like struggling internally. It felt like they have their issues, but they genuinely like hanging out with each other. So that really worked for me as well.
Also, Ad showing Economos the love there was really nice. You can tell he's not used to kind of all that kind of stuff. So it was a nice moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think Daniel Brooks is so great. She's not getting a lot to do this season. We do get the brief scene of her visiting her girlfriend, and her girlfriend being like, what are you doing here? We broke up.
Busted.
Yeah, which is tough, but like, it doesn't seem to affect her too much. That said, she brings this beautiful ray of sunshine to every scene, just like this brightness in her acting. And that comes through in that scene, which, like you're saying, Pete, was a little tough to watch, but also the Economos conversation where she lifts him up. It's nice.
I mean, as soon as she shows up to the party, it becomes a party, Mm-hmm. So, yeah, she really brings the sunshine for sure. And to see her, like, saying mommy's home and all that kind of stuff and really enjoying seeing her dogs, and then like her ex is there and kind of getting busted, I mean, that's tough. I mean, have you guys gotten in trouble for breaking back into your ex's place and then like they come home and
sorry
busted?
Do you want me to confess to a crime here on the podcast? Is
that what you're doing? I'm just trying to set
you're
you up.
You're a lawyer, so I'm checking with you.
I'm just trying to set you up, that's all.
Pete works for Argus in a major way. Well, actually, Pete, I thought of you because in the scene where the leftover orgy and they places a coffee order, and I know, and what I've heard about your orgy experience is you hate the long coffee order the next day.
Oh, my God. It's so...
Because everyone orders one by one, and it's like, hey, write it all down, guys. Mm-hmm. And then I'll start making.
But like an orgy, you need somebody who's there organizing everything. You know what I mean? You need someone who's taking
part of
orders.
Half of orgy is orge.
Yeah, you're right. The organizing
orgy chart.
Yeah,
organizing.
It's
oh man, I got so much organizing to do. Yeah, we got to turn this orgy into an orgy. Am I right?
Am I right?
And doing
Who's
logistics.
With me? Oh my God. Yeah, there was a lot of crazy fun moments. We start with right where we left off, which is nice.
Wait, are you talking about an orgy or are you talking about this episode?
I'm talking about this episode.
I was just laughing because I guarantee you, if anybody listening to this podcast, and I can't guarantee you that there are, but anybody who's like swingers or done orgies, they're like, there is a lot of organization.
Yeah,
I have a whole spreadsheet. Okay.
Well, I'm sure.
It's a lot of people. Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah.
And
Snacks?
My question also coming out of this is like,
Gatorade?
I appreciate the group cleanup that was happening in this episode.
Oh, that's huge.
How long would you stay into the morning after an orgy? Like, are you catching up?
It depends on how crazy, I mean, you got to clean up, you got to make sure that, the person's house was nice enough to say,
I guess I never considered that you sleep there totally nude at the end of it.
Don't have to.
I've never been at an orgy, by the way. Big surprise, I guess.
Pete, how often do you find, and I also do you feel like you'd get your clothes back on?
Right.
Do you keep a second set of clothes?
Well, I mean, it depends on how free you are as a person. I mean, some people will walk in with a set of clothes, and then have a set to change into.
Sure.
Other people who just like leave the clothes in the car, man. You know what I mean? That's a whole different person.
I guess I sort of always pictured that the orgy, if people did stay there, it sort of like segues into a sleepover at some point. Not like a sexy sleepover, but like, ooh, let's watch some scary movies.
Yeah.
Well, it's the thing. They're not nudists. Like, they can wear clothes. It's
Right.
just they're having
Some
sex
of them
in
might
groups
be.
and- Good point, Pete. Again, your experience always helps these conversations. You know the real shit.
I will say while we're jumping all around and we're still talking about this, we touched on in the previous episode the whole content thing. Justin, if I remember correctly, you didn't love the orgy. You felt like it was just them doing it because they could do it. And I've seen a lot of reactions online being like, this was too far. This was too much.
I don't care about too far. It felt like the joke. It was more joke.
Yeah,
than
but it paid off in this episode huge.
I was just about to say, I think it paid off well comedically in this episode. With
So
the
people need to
coffee
shut the
order.
fuck up and then really wait and then say some comments. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, though. I feel like they could have played it better so that it paid off on both ends. Like in an orgy. You want to make sure everyone's
like
getting
an orgy.
Everyone's getting a little, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I thought everything. I actually liked the orgy. I thought it really, like I talked about, played against Peacemaker's emotional state in the first episode. So I'm definitely, I guess, in the minority there. But I thought it was really fun how it played out with the conversation with Vigilante. His whole thing about sex, where he's like, "Ew, sex gross. It's supposed to be so." That's what I wanted to bring up with you guys. Is sex something you do with your best friends?
You mean the three of us?
Yeah, the three of us.
Well, I mean, it depends on the relation. You know what I mean? There are people who have no kind of boundaries when it comes to stuff like that, and other people who are like, "Yo, that's a whole different thing." It really comes down to your philosophy on sex. But I would like to say that while we're talking about the fun joke of it, it was hilarious.
Started by we each have sex with someone separately in nearby rooms. Let's just start there,
and then see what happens.
Yeah.
See what happens.
And then, like, should it be one of those...
The original origin.
One of those meeting rooms with, like, the divider that kind of opens up with a button. So if somebody feels comfortable enough, they hit the button. They're like, hello.
Interesting. Does everyone has an open and a close?
Why are you putting people in divider rooms? Like, what kind of organizational thing is that?
He's doing the orgy
I'm
part.
doing the organizing.
He's
You go in
organizing.
this room. You go in this room. You go in this room.
So this one
I'll
opens
send
the
you guys a
wall.
Google invite.
Oh, thanks.
Good.
Yeah, I'll put it on the Google Calendar. I just think that what's funny is that beat where Peacemaker was like, "Oh, you're talking about the coffee." You know what I mean? Where he was like, "Oh, everybody's naked in an orgy." I also like the bit of Peacemaker kind of being the guy on the outside of the orgy, even though he kind of invited it all. It's really well played.
He's a true leader.
Yeah, he also has, I don't know if you guys were struck by this, he has really large hands. When he's getting the coffee, his hands are larger than the entire mug. So either the mug is tiny and his hands are large, or something's going on there. But I thought it was interesting.
Giant cups of coffee? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, all I'm saying is either they were playing for, like, John Cena probably does have large hands. He's a wrestler, and he's, like, very jacked.
He has large hands but short fingers, I feel like. Like an action figure. He's got like...
He definitely is an action figure come to life. There's no
He's
question.
got hot Italian sausage fingers.
Real briefly, I know I mentioned the thing that he said earlier, but another great Vigilante episode. I'm a little bummed about the lack of character development to everybody else, but Vigilante, I'm okay with him just being who he is.
Yes, agreed.
That whole conversation about sex was great. The brief shot at the party of him in his underwear and everybody pouring beer on him, very funny as well.
Well, it's a beer bath. He's having a classic.
Oh, is that what
beer
it's
bath.
called? I didn't know that.
Also,
I have a lot to learn about life.
the Peacemaker
Ride with us, kid. We're
and
gonna show you
Vigilante
something.
kind of taking care of his dead otherworldly self. And Vigilante's just having the time of his life. He thinks this is the greatest bonding moment, and these best friends are just getting closer because of this. Was just a fun juxtaposition.
Also, quick, before I forget, really
Justin
fun
position.
bit. All the bits with the body, they were so sticky,
Oh,
but they
my
made me
God.
laugh so hard. Like him trying to put the body away and it keeps rolling out. Great.
Very funny.
And then when they reveal the body to Vigilante, the fake head that they had for Peacemaker,
good.
or if it was just with the tongue out and bugging
the
eyes.
face, the bug
Very
eyes.
funny as well.
So funny.
And I know I said this earlier very quickly, but what this season so far is doing very well, and I know I keep hammering the same thing, but like the visual metaphor of Peacemaker having to break apart his own body and set himself on fire when he currently hates himself was very smartly done and not verbally stated, which is like the extra step where I've been like, all right, we get it. Instead, just showing us instead of telling us, I think was well done. It dives into where he's at, and they keep going with that in the episode.
And the bit about the alien using the kind of trash compactor with the rat was so funny, where he just like freaks out. He's like, "Fuck off!" And then
What's the
Vigilante's
line?
like,
Who's that? He's a dick who doesn't say good morning.
No, he says,
I
I
said
said
hello
hi to him.
anytime.
Yeah, he never says hi back. And I think that'd be a fun bit to kind of get the reverse of like, we see the alien family and they're like, why do you hate
Right.
Peacemaker? And he's like, he never says hi because they're
Seems
talking
like a
different
good
language.
end credit sequence at some point
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I also like the that's the kyphotic alien is what he's called. I like him dancing in the opening sequence. To go back to your favorite part of the episode, Pete. Here's something I wanted to talk about. Frank Grillo, F. Grillies, the Grills, if we will.
Yeah.
Like the actor, happy to have him on board as Rick Flag Sr. He has played, I feel like, 3 different characters in the DCU so far. And it's not just the fact that he had like white hair on Creature Commandos and now he has this regular hair color.
Yeah.
But like, he was different in Creature Commandos than he was in Superman than he is currently in Peacemaker. And that's weird to me. Are you guys feeling the same way?
But that's also like, what happens to characters. Like if you see a crossover event with different characters, whoever's handling that character is going to have a different twist.
All 3 times it was James Gunn.
Well, and I think
Yeah,
what
but
Alex
he's
is saying
using
is like,
him in
I
different
don't like
ways.
that.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be different. I want it to be the same. Like when we all get together, I'm like, Pete is pretty much the same every time. That track.
I don't know.
And I understand he
Alex,
has different
similar.
positions and there are different emotional things they're going for with him. But like in Creature Commandos, he was in charge of a ragtag team and he's like, oh boy, I'm really in over my head, but I'm trying to do the right thing here. And I'm just a dad who's lost his son and it's a real bummer. And like that to me, like clear setup for the character. We followed him over the course of the season. I get it. Superman, it was just a little taste of the character, but at least like I don't know. He was just like, I'm a government official who feels bad for Superman. The end. And
Yeah, but in this, he's just a pissed off dad too. So I don't really know what you're talking about because like he read the file, which we all kind of knew he was, and they kind of set that up. Mm-hmm. And so just to him kind of like dealing with that, I thought was nice where he was just kind of like
I don't see the connection between
Peacemaker
the good guy
was
who's
freaking
trying
out.
to do the right thing in Creature Commandos and here. Maybe it is a character growth that they're giving him, and this is what he is going forward. It's just a little taste, but I don't know. It was weird. It didn't work for me.
Well, and
I
just
liked
even further, like my thoughts were, like you were saying that Nick Fleury is the Nick Fury?
Langston Fleury.
Langston Fleury is the Nick Fury. I mean, Frank Grillo is the Nick Fury here. He's across all these different shows. So he has like sort of narrative armor on him, as they say, where like he's probably not going to die here, but he's setting himself up to be the big bad behind Peacemaker. And it's just strange to me, like they have all this bureaucracy like built in with Sacha Bordeaux, Economos like betraying them. Now you got Tim Meadows in there. And it's like, and Frank Grillo up top, it's like, why do we have all these people there? Mm-hmm.
It is a lot on Argus, and that's kind of been present in everything from the Suicide Squad to both seasons of Peacemaker to Creature Commandos, etc. But I think what you're getting at, Justin, is it's the least interesting part of the DCU so far.
Yeah. And it's just so similar to, like, the MCU was built around S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury, and it's like, we don't need to do it that way. We've seen that, A. B, it's not the most interesting. It's literally putting logistics and organization above the orgy of fun that is the rest of the show. And I think we've proven me want orgy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I appreciate the fact that we kind of teed up like, oh man, once Rick Flag takes over Argus, he's going to really be on Peacemaker's ass. And we saw that, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, great. I don't have to think about that anymore. We can kind of move on.
That's what I love when I'm watching a TV show, is not having to think about it anymore and moving on.
Yeah, get to the orgy Tim Meadows fun part. You know what I mean?
Honestly, if I didn't have to watch this at all, I'd be so happy.
Great.
Right, Pete?
Well, what do you want? You want to see the fun part of government where they're just kind of being like, okay,
no, I don't, but don't show it at all. That's what I'm saying. It's like, figure out a way. I think you could figure out a way to excise those scenes and get the same thing to be happening potentially, or just not as much focus.
And if like Flag Senior is an important one, like what's Sasha Bordeaux? Like what do we think her role is here? I do have a guess that is just coming to me.
Middle management is so far my guess.
What if there's a love triangle situation with Peacemaker, Harcourt there, or because like I don't know if she
wasn't in the dance number, so I doubt it.
No, interesting. Wow, you're the real Rosetta Stone of the dance number, trying to piece together. Interesting. What's happening?
Yeah.
Well, I definitely think, I mean, to give Pete a little credit here, I think there are a lot of clues to what's going on in the dance number. There's a lot of focus on the relationship between Peacemaker and Harcourt. We get to see two Harcourts in the opening number, which we're getting a taste of already. So, like, they're definitely teasing some things there.
And the evil dad kind of is the only one left standing, and the other two kind of fly away. Like, I wonder if they get killed or something, you know?
Yeah, potentially. I think that's actually a good theory. We'll keep breaking down the dance number as we go.
You should.
What else?
It's important. It's all there. It's all in the dance
episode,
number.
though. We could talk about the Eagly attack. We touched on that a little bit. I actually really love the idea of bringing together this hardcore Black Ops team, giving them a badass introduction, and then they get destroyed by a bird. Very fun.
Not just a bird, Alex. This is an eagle, okay?
Okay.
One of the
Which eagle
fiercer predators.
Just one of the eagles? Oh, a bald
That's
eagle.
a bald eagle.
Any particular character or just a general bald eagle?
Eagly, motherfucker.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying that, like, having this fight sequence where Eagly's ripping eyes out in the moonlight as blood splatters is hilarious. And then, it throwing off, Tim Meadows in such a fun way was just great. It added such a nice layer to this kind of already chaotic, over-the-top, kind of bloody situation. I was a little disappointed that people survived. I was hoping Eagly really kind of took them all out. Well, yeah, I mean, it's,
Who did you want
got
to
to strut back into the house, you know what I mean? So I thought maybe he killed them all.
Very Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino. Is that the movie where he's like,
where he's singing? Yeah, it definitely had.
Anyone else think of that? It's very funny to me also.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
It's also funny, Pete, that you have reverse bird blindness. You don't, you only see one bird everywhere you go.
That's right.
Are you picturing us like cartoon style? Like, do we have eagle heads right now?
Yeah, now that you say that, yes. It's nice to see you in your true forms.
Oh, great.
He's the eagle underneath.
Cool.
Yeah, that was fun. I was like, it felt more like a joke that they paid off, like that are they going to do this just Eagly? And then they did.
Yeah, which was fun, and I hope that we get more kind of Eagly moments like that, because Eagly really did such a great job strutting away and walking back into the house. I thought that was a fun beat to kind of sit in a little bit.
I want to ask you guys a DC nerd thing that I don't remember whether we talked about on the first episode or not, but they pretty clearly establish in this episode that there are 100 doors total in the quantum unfolding chamber. So we got the DCU is behind one of them, the kyphotic alien is behind one, we got DC2 behind another, and presumably there's an imp dimension because they talked about that a little bit in the first episode without referencing one of the doors. So James Gunn has talked about how, like, these are not alternate Earths, these are dimensions, but what do you take away from this? Because there's so much stuff about like multiverses, different dimensions, other things, other terminology, not just in DC Comics, but like DC Comics, for anybody who reads them, knows DC has always been razor focused on like multiple Earths, from having an infinite number to having 52 to right now in continuity. There's basically 2 and they're locked off from the rest of the multiverse. What's your takeaway from all of this? What do you think? Where do you think they're potentially going with it, and how do you feel about it?
I mean, they're trying to like slice the difference between these things, but really that's not that different, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, in the MCU, you've got like, I'm going to dub this down a little bit for anybody who doesn't care about this stuff. For any comic book fans, I've been told multiple times when I explain this, they're like, of course I know this. And I'm like, yes, of course you know this, but this is actually very confusing for other people. In the MCU, you've got different dimensions like stacked on top of each other, is a way of thinking about them. So like you have the main MCU, and then there's the Nord dimension, which was another dimension of light beings that they established in Miss Marvel. There's the dark dimension, which they had in Doctor Strange, and those all exist in the MCU. When you go to an alternate version of the MCU, like the X-Men's universe or the Fantastic Four's universe, they also have that. So they also have another Nord dimension, another dark dimension, etc. The way it works in the DCU, we don't know.
Well, there's 52.
No, they haven't said that.
No.
They haven't said that.
Not in this show, but in DC Comics, we know that there's 52.
And sometimes an infinite number, and sometimes 2. That's
right.
What I said before, and sometimes 1. They go all over the place, but we're talking about what they're doing in the DCU is they establish the quantum unfolding chamber goes to 99 other dimensions, but also Lex Luthor and Superman mentioned that his, not quantum unfolding chamber, but like pocket universe that he created was between the 2 universes. Like he used specifically that language. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but so there's at least 2 universes in the DCU and also 100 dimensions, which to your point, Justin, is like kind of the same thing, but also sort of needlessly confusing, I think.
Well, to be like, it's different, I'm like, well, then how? Oh, man, why do I have to think about this now?
Yeah.
And we are, but it seems like we are.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, James Gunn has definitely emphasized that this is very important to the overall plot of the DCU. So, I don't know. It's important to talk about just in terms of like, it seems like probably it's going to come up in Lanterns, and maybe it will come up in Supergirl. Almost definitely won't come up in Clayface, but it's something that they'll be dealing with going forward. So what are the rules is maybe something that needs to be established.
I would like to give them the freedom to not have to deal with it. Yeah. I'm good. You could just keep going with just where we are now and not say any more things. Fine.
Yeah. It would be nice if that was the thing, though, if they didn't keep piling it on. To Zalbin's point a little bit of like, which one is it? Because it seems like it's unnecessarily a lot of different things.
Well, I think if I had to parse what James Gunn's doing is he's saying with the dimensions, he's like, it's not like universes that we have to go back and touch on. It's just a little thing. So let's forget about the difference here.
Mm-hmm. Well, and to the point of what you're saying, Justin, for the purposes of Peacemaker Season 2, I think, or hope, what we're dealing with, which I think we talked about last episode, is like, it's just fun to have a weird alien with a rat cat creature come out and incinerate it. Don't worry about where he comes from. The main focus here is the DCU and DC2, where Peacemaker is going, and having like his ideal life presented to him with some possible challenges like we theorized about here on the podcast. That's the important thing. Don't worry about what's behind doors 3 through 99 or whatever. That doesn't matter right now. It's just these 2 doors and a couple of other fun doors potentially.
Yeah, and I think that gets into a bigger question of like, well, what are we really talking about? Are we talking about whole universes, or are we talking about little pocket dimensions? Because little pocket dimensions, I mean, those can go on for a lot of different things.
Yeah, what does it matter? What's the difference for you there? The pocket seems tinier?
No, I'm just saying that like a pocket can exist in another universe, and
Well, this is exactly what we're saying. I think the show is saying, don't worry about that. Like, don't worry about whether it's a pocket universe or dimension or whatever. We're using these terms, and we do have an idea of it, and it is going to become important later on. But in this show, worry about the DCU and DC2 and the characters that are the same or different there, and that's it.
Yeah. It's freaking me out, though, when we start talking about pocket universes. Every time we talk about it, Justin's dog goes crazy. You know what I mean? And I think maybe
he's from a pocket universe. That's the fucked up
he's
part.
your Eagly and is letting us know, like,
Dog pocket. See?
Yeah.
Dog pockets. What else should we talk about? Any other notes from the episode we should call out?
I loved the fishing moment where Peacemaker kind of fished over a Harcourt, and it's tough. I love the complexity of this. I love how she's like shutting him out, but he picks up on like, another bar fight, like the one this happened and one that, and he's trying to hold her accountable, and she's fighting the whole way, which I appreciate her kind of like. Sometimes on shows you'll be like, oh, this character all of a sudden just drops all of their baggage, just to kind of work with what's happening. So I like the fact that it's a slow kind of build that hopefully she's going to kind of get better, but kind of fighting it the whole way. So I thought it was like some hard but beautiful moments between those two.
I didn't find it beautiful. I find it just hard. Those scenes, like even the fishing thing, I was like, this is so like uncomfortable.
But that's
where they
who
want
they
us to
are.
be.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
definitely. But I just don't, it's hard.
I agree with you, Justin. I think and you, Pete, actually, I think they're doing a really good job. Like I was talking about earlier, these characters like each other. And you even see the way Jennifer Holland is playing it with Harcourt, that she likes Peacemaker. She doesn't want to, and there's clearly a lot going on with her. Like she says, she has more trauma going on than even he does, which we don't fully know about yet. But she wants to like him, and then she gets to a point where he pushes a little too hard, and she shuts him down.
Yeah.
And that to me feels much more realistic than I hate you, leave me alone. I know I keep harping on the same thing, but like, I like that. And I like that because that does give you that tease, that promise of like, maybe this could work out at some point down the road. It probably shouldn't, because these are two very damaged characters, but they want to like each other, and there is a base level of liking going on there. I did want to mention one other thing about Harcourt, though. There was a scene in the middle of the episode which I think had the worst joke and maybe the best joke in the episode, which is when she goes to the pharmacy. And she goes to the pharmacy.
I knew you were going to say this.
Yeah?
I know what you're getting at.
Yes. The joke of a woman coming up and being like, without explicitly saying these words, but like, you're being domestically abused. Don't joke about that. That just rubbed me like, I understand what they were going for, but there are a lot of women that are going through this, and it is really hard to talk about. And like, making the joke even partially on the woman who's coming up to talk to her really rubbed me the wrong way, and I thought was kind of gross.
I definitely agree with what you're saying, but I also appreciate the reality of the situation where you put somebody in public who has these markings. Maybe someone would come up to them. You know what I mean? So like, yes, I agree with you, shouldn't have done it. But I do think that the reality of it is, if somebody's gone through or knows somebody's gone through and then sees that, they might try to reach out to them. And then the fact that I love the little moment as she was leaving and is like, I need a fucking job, and sees at the door like help wanted, and this kind of like, well, I blew that, I can't turn around and go back and ask for a job after I just made this huge scene. I thought that little small moment said a lot and was pretty cool.
Well, for me, it was like, if the idea of the scene was like, let's make her life harder, it felt like that was the point of it. I was like, you could have done a million things. Mm-hmm. Why was this the way that you felt you needed to do this?
Well, and the problem, and this is nothing against the actress at all who was doing it, but the meek, scared way that the actress comes up to her and is talking about you and is using the domestic abuse language and reaching out to her, put the joke on her, made her like the funny one, the one that we're kind of making fun of. And I hear what you're saying, Pete, because I did like the rest of it. And like Justin is saying, the thrust of the scene I think was fine. It was just the content of that I did not like at all. But that was followed up with my favorite joke in the episode, which is,
Yes.
what are you looking at, Beaker? And
The Beaker
the whole way
thing
that was shot was
just
perfect. With the guy's side of like very tall, long neck, red hair, just poking out over the shelf. The way they framed up the other lady, him not knowing who the Muppets are, be like, "Who's that? He's a Muppet.
It's not a good
Is
thing.
that good? Is that bad?" Her response, "Well, it's not good."
Good, yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Very funny. Whole
Good,
thing was perfect.
good bit of dialogue there.
Yeah. So I really like that. Any other bits from the episode to talk about before we start to wrap up here?
I really like the post-credit sequence, which I like that they're doing sort of extended improv-y takes, I feel like, for this. Is really funny. And we get Economos and Tim Meadows, him going further on like, wait, who are these women that you had sex with? And we get their Gertrude and Francine, the Peppermint Twins, which I thought was just...
I would be shocked if that was not improv, because that 100% felt like...
Yes. Even the way they shot it, they cut like Steve Agee's like busting his balls improvisationally, and they cut away for a moment where Tim Meadows either said something too fucked up that they couldn't include, or he just didn't have an answer, and they cut back into it, and we get the Peppermint Twins. So I thought that was just great to see improv at work.
Yeah, and it's just a fun kind of heightening of the. I have a girlfriend. She lives in Canada. You wouldn't know her. You know what I mean? Like, just such a fun thing of like, these two, are both nerds, but kind of Tim Meadows is fighting this stigma so hard, where he's like, "You're a nerd. I get ladies." So like.
Wait a second, Pete. You always say that your best orgies are the ones in Canada. I'm starting to think that they're not real.
What? No, man, come on.
You say you have all these Canadian orgies that you're always visiting over the summer.
Wait, when you were talking about you go up to Canada and get your Timbits jiggled, were you talking about...
That has to be real. There's no way that's not real.
I'm starting to put some stuff together here.
Oh, man. Oh, I hate how transparent I am.
That's something you say at an orgy, too. Before we wrap up, why don't we do predictions for what we want to see come in the next episode? What do we think is going to happen now that Peacemaker potentially is over at DC2? I don't know if he's staying there or what, but what do we want to see happen in episode 3? Or beyond, potentially?
I feel like episode 3, I think he's going to do a lot of DC2 stuff, because I think pretty soon we have to have the other shoe drop on why that place is fucked up. Mm-hmm. And so I think we had speculated at last episode that it's like a universe where everyone's racist or something. It's going to be something bad. And so maybe that drops at the end of this next episode. I also like, what is Sacha Bordeaux here for? I think we needed something there. What were you going to say?
No. I was just going to interrupt with, you had talked about the Bloodhaven pronunciation. We talked about this on our Comic Book Club Discord. There's a theory online that the reason Keith in DC2 says Bloodhaven instead of Bloodhaven is because that's the German pronunciation. And we're going to find out that DC2 is essentially Earth X from the DC universe, which is where Hitler won World War II. So they're all Nazis, which I think is
how did that feel
100% possible. Like that is a crazy detail,
right,
but it feels accurate. Pete, what about you? Any predictions or wants, hopes, dreams?
Yes, all those things. But first, I wanted to say the one of the lines that I really love that we didn't talk about was the ads line. It was said to ads by Economos, where he was like, "You don't love me, you just love alcohol." I thought that was a really fun bit when, there was a kind of, she was like, "Oh, give me a hug," which I thought was really sweet. Predictions, I think we really have to, because we left Peacemaker in the other world. He sat down for that kind of text, and that heartbroken emoji was the thing he was looking for. So I feel like we're going to kind of pick up there and get a lot more of the, maybe him staying in that world and trying to kind of fix things, which could be a real problem. But then on the other side of it, I really think that these, since the team was attacked by Eagly, that, maybe a flag's going to get involved. But Tim Meadows saying titties was just so much fun that I hope we get more of that, because the nickname thing was just an absolute blast. Because part of me wants like a whole new crew so they can come up with new nicknames, but also I was like, we got to bring titties back, because that's just that's fun for.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm going to add that onto the Google Cal for our orgy. We got to bring titties back.
Bring titties. Now, do we want that as a banner over the living room? You think?
Yeah.
Or maybe a sign out in the front lawn?
Yeah, both. We can get both. Let's price it out, and we'll talk about it later.
Again, here he is orgying.
While we're throwing out bits that we didn't talk about, we didn't talk about the bottle throwing bit.
I love
the
that.
missing beers. Yeah,
So funny.
Heartbreaking though. This poor Bud Lights. You know, it's a
That
awful
was
way to
great.
go.
That was just perfectly paced. That whole timing of everything. It was like its own little comedy sketch in the middle of the episode. Very fun.
Yeah.
I'm on the same page as you guys. I think we got to see more DC2 this episode. I am really curious, and I don't know whether they do this in the next episode, but curious if we'll deal with the ethics of Peacemaker from the DCU, potentially getting in a romantic relationship with Amelia Harcourt from DC2, not knowing he is him. That's pretty messed up if so.
But a great way to kind of find out what's wrong with this other world. You know what I mean? But yeah, speaking of ethics, I did like Vigilante's kind of like comment about the washing the hands. That was a really funny bit.
Yeah. Good episode, good show. Excited to talk about more about it. If you would like to support this podcast and all the podcasts we do, patreon.com/Comic Book Club for ad-free versions of this and all of our episodes. Apple, Spotify, Android, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow. comicbookclub.live.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, Dad, I sent you the invite, but you haven't said yes or no, I guess, yet. If you could just respond at some point, that would be really great.
Yeah, I keep getting bounced back that Dad's in Canada meeting up with a big group of people.
Guys, what did we talk about? If they're in a different dimension, it's not going to go through. You know what I mean? You have to be in the same dimension for the text to go through.
I missed that meeting. Sorry, guys.